Our first recipe is chicken piccata, a zesty Italian dish known for its bright, tangy lemon sauce and tender chicken breasts. This dish strikes the perfect balance between light, fresh flavors and rich, savory textures, making it an ideal choice for dinner parties or weeknight meals. With its buttery sauce, briny capers, and a touch of lemon, it's a classic that never goes out of style. Let's get started. Begin by preparing the chicken. You'll need 4 boneless, skinless chicken breasts, each pounded to an even thickness of about 1/2 inch. This ensures that the chicken cooks evenly and remains tender. To season, sprinkle both sides of the chicken breasts generously with salt and pepper. Set them aside while you prepare the dredging mixture. For the coating, combine 1 cup of all-purpose flour with 1 tablespoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of black pepper in a shallow dish. Dredge each chicken breast in the flour mixture, ensuring it's evenly coated. Shake off any excess flour, as too much can result in a thick, clumpy coating during cooking. Next, heat 2 tablespoons of olive oil and 1 tablespoon of unsalted butter in a large skillet over medium-high heat. Once the butter has melted and the oil is hot, add the chicken breasts to the pan. Cook the chicken for about 4 to 5 minutes per side until it is golden brown and fully cooked through. Remove the chicken from the skillet and set it aside on a plate. Now, it's time to make the sauce that gives chicken piccata its signature flavor. In the same skillet, reduce the heat to medium and add 1/4 cup of fresh lemon juice, scraping the bottom of the skillet to release any browned bits of chicken. These bits will add a depth of flavor to the sauce. Next, add 1/2 cup of dry white wine, such as Sauvignon Blanc or Chardonnay, and bring the mixture to a simmer. Let it cook for about 3 to 4 minutes, reducing slightly. After the wine has reduced, stir in 1 cup of chicken broth and bring it to a gentle simmer. Cook for another 5 to 6 minutes, allowing the sauce to thicken slightly. This will form the base of your sauce. To finish the sauce, add 1/4 cup of capers, drained, and cook for an additional 2 minutes. The capers add a burst of briny flavor that complements the tangy lemon and the richness of the butter. To complete the dish, return the chicken breasts to the skillet, nestling them into the sauce. Simmer for 2 to 3 minutes, spooning the sauce over the chicken to ensure it's fully coated and heated through. The sauce should slightly reduce, becoming even richer. Once the chicken is warmed and the sauce has thickened to your liking, it's time to serve. Transfer the chicken to plates and spoon the sauce over the top. For an added burst of freshness, garnish with freshly chopped parsley and a few extra capers if desired. Chicken piccata is traditionally served with pasta, such as spaghetti or angel hair, but it also pairs wonderfully with a side of roasted vegetables or mashed potatoes. The light, buttery sauce coats the chicken and the sides, making every bite flavorful and satisfying. For a variation, you can add a touch of cream to the sauce for a richer, smoother texture, or incorporate a handful of fresh spinach to give the dish a pop of color and additional flavor. If you prefer a bit of heat, a pinch of red pepper flakes can be added to the sauce, giving the dish a slight kick. Leftovers can be stored in an airtight container in the refrigerator for up to 2 days. To reheat, place the chicken and sauce in a skillet over low heat, covering with a lid to prevent the chicken from drying out. Stir occasionally and add a splash of chicken broth or water if the sauce has thickened too much. Chicken piccata is a delightful and versatile dish that is both simple to prepare and rich in flavor. The lemony, buttery sauce and the savory capers make it a perfect option for any occasion, from casual dinners to special celebrations. Give this recipe a try and enjoy the flavors of Italy in the comfort of your own kitchen. Our next recipe is vegetarian chili, a hearty and satisfying dish packed with bold flavors and a medley of vegetables. This chili is perfect for cozy nights when you want something warm and filling, but without any meat. It's rich in spices, with a touch of heat and a natural sweetness from the tomatoes and vegetables. Whether you're a vegetarian or just looking to cut back on meat, this recipe is sure to become a favorite. Let's dive in. Start by prepping the vegetables. You'll need 1 medium onion, chopped, 2 bell peppers, any color, diced, and 2 cloves of garlic, minced. In a large pot or Dutch oven, heat 2 tablespoons of olive oil over medium heat. Add the onion and sauté for about 5 minutes until it becomes soft and translucent. Then, add the bell peppers and garlic, cooking for another 3 minutes until fragrant. Next, it's time to add the spices. Stir in 1 tablespoon of chili powder, 1 teaspoon of ground cumin, 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika, and 1/2 teaspoon of ground oregano. Cook for 1–2 minutes, letting the spices toast and release their full aroma. Now, add the main ingredients to the pot. Pour in 1 can, 15 ounces of diced tomatoes, 1 can, 15 ounces of kidney beans, drained and rinsed, and 1 can, 15 ounces of black beans, also drained and rinsed. Add 1 cup of vegetable broth and stir everything together. Bring the mixture to a simmer, then reduce the heat to low and cook for 30–40 minutes, stirring occasionally. The chili should thicken, and the flavors will meld together beautifully. To add even more depth to the chili, stir in 1/2 cup of corn kernels, either fresh, frozen, or from a can, and 1/4 cup of tomato paste. Cook for an additional 10 minutes, allowing the corn to heat through and the chili to thicken further. For a bit of extra heat, you can add a chopped jalapeno pepper when you're sautéing the onions, or sprinkle in some red pepper flakes to taste. Once the chili is ready, taste it and adjust the seasoning as needed, adding salt, pepper, or more chili powder if desired. If you prefer a thicker chili, you can mash some of the beans with a spoon to create a creamier texture. Serve your vegetarian chili with a variety of toppings like sour cream, shredded cheese, chopped cilantro, or a squeeze of lime for added freshness. It's also great with a side of warm cornbread or tortilla chips for dipping. This dish can easily be made ahead of time, as the flavors develop even more after a day or 2 in the fridge. Leftovers will keep in an airtight container for up to 4 days, or you can freeze the chili for up to 3 months. When reheating, you may need to add a little extra vegetable broth to loosen the chili if it has thickened too much. Vegetarian chili is a comforting, full-flavored dish that's perfect for any occasion. Its rich, spiced broth and hearty vegetables make it both satisfying and nutritious. Whether you're enjoying it on a chilly evening or serving it at a gathering, this chili is sure to be a hit. Our third recipe is pork schnitzel, a crispy, golden brown cutlet that's a true comfort food favorite. This dish comes from Germany and Austria, where it's often served with a side of potato salad or a fresh green salad. The tender pork is coated in a light, crunchy breading and pan-fried to perfection, offering the perfect balance of textures. It's simple to make, yet incredibly satisfying, and it's sure to become a staple in your recipe collection. Let's get started. Begin by preparing the pork. You'll need 4 boneless pork chops, each about ½ inch thick. If the chops are too thick, gently pound them with a meat mallet to an even thickness. This ensures the meat cooks evenly and stays tender. Once the pork is ready, season each chop with salt and pepper on both sides. Now, set up a breading station. In one shallow dish, place 1 cup of all-purpose flour. In another, beat 2 large eggs with a tablespoon of water until the mixture is smooth. In a third shallow dish, place 1 cup of breadcrumbs. For the best result, use plain breadcrumbs, but you can also use panko breadcrumbs for an extra crunch. Start the breading process by dredging each pork chop in the flour, coating both sides evenly. Next, dip it into the egg wash, allowing any excess to drip off. Finally, coat the chop in the breadcrumbs, pressing gently to ensure the breadcrumbs adhere well. Set the breaded pork on a plate and repeat with the remaining pieces. To cook the schnitzels, heat 1/4 cup of vegetable oil in a large skillet over medium-high heat. You'll want enough oil to cover the bottom of the pan, but not completely submerge the schnitzels. Once the oil is hot, carefully add the pork chops, making sure not to overcrowd the pan. Cook the schnitzels for 4 to 5 minutes per side, turning them carefully with tongs or a spatula until they are golden brown and crispy. The internal temperature of the pork should reach 145 degrees, 63 degrees. If needed, work in batches to avoid overcrowding. Once the schnitzels are cooked, transfer them to a plate lined with paper towels to drain any excess oil. Let them rest for a few minutes while you prepare the finishing touches. To serve, garnish the schnitzels with lemon wedges. The fresh lemon juice adds a bright, zesty flavor that cuts through the richness of the fried pork and enhances the overall taste. For a traditional touch, sprinkle the schnitzels with a little parsley for color and freshness. Pork schnitzel is often served with sides like potato salad, a simple green salad, or mashed potatoes. The crispiness of the schnitzel pairs wonderfully with a creamy potato salad, or the acidity of a tangy green salad. It also goes well with a light dipping sauce, such as a mustard-based sauce or a creamy horseradish sauce for added flavor. For a fun variation, you can swap the pork for chicken or veal, both of which are commonly used in schnitzel recipes. If you want to experiment with flavors, try adding a little grated Parmesan cheese to the breadcrumbs, or seasoning the flour with a pinch of paprika for an extra depth of flavor. This recipe can easily be doubled or halved depending on how many people you're serving. If you're making a larger batch, you can keep the cooked schnitzels warm in a low oven, about 200 degrees on 93 degrees, while you finish cooking the rest. Just be sure to avoid covering them with foil, as that can cause the breading to lose its crispiness. Leftovers can be stored in an airtight container in the refrigerator for up to 2 days. To reheat, place the schnitzels on a baking sheet and heat them in the oven at 350 degrees, 175 degrees, for about 10 minutes, or until warmed through and crisp again. You can also heat them in a skillet over low heat, adding a little extra oil to keep the breading crispy. Pork schnitzel is a dish that's both comforting and delicious. The crispy coating and tender pork make it a perfect weeknight meal, while its simple preparation and versatility allow you to pair it with a variety of sides. Whether you're enjoying it with a classic potato salad or just a squeeze of lemon, this schnitzel recipe is sure to impress. Give it a try and enjoy a taste of German and Austrian comfort food right at home. Our next recipe is seared tuna with sesame crust, a fresh and flavorful dish that brings the taste of the ocean to your plate. This recipe is a perfect balance of tender, juicy tuna, complemented by a crisp, nutty sesame crust and a touch of soy sauce. It's light yet satisfying, making it an ideal choice for a healthy dinner or a special occasion. Let's dive right in. Start by preparing the tuna. You'll need 2 fresh, sushi-grade tuna steaks, each about 6 ounces and 1 inch thick. When buying tuna, be sure to select the best quality available, as this will make a huge difference in the flavor and texture of the dish. Season both sides of the tuna steaks with a pinch of salt and black pepper. Now, prepare the sesame crust. In a shallow dish, combine 1/4 cup of white sesame seeds and 1/4 cup of black sesame seeds. This combination gives the tuna a beautiful, vibrant appearance and adds a nutty, slightly sweet flavor. You can adjust the ratio of black to white sesame seeds depending on your preference. Place the tuna steaks into the sesame seeds and gently press down, ensuring that both sides are evenly coated. Be sure to press the seeds into the tuna firmly, so they stick well during cooking. Once the tuna is coated, heat 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil in a large skillet over medium-high heat. The oil should be hot enough that it shimmers but not smoking. Carefully add the tuna steaks to the skillet, ensuring they don't touch. Cook the tuna for 1.5 to 2 minutes per side, or until the sesame crust is golden brown and crispy, while the tuna remains rare in the center. You can adjust the cooking time slightly if you prefer your tuna more well done, but be careful not to overcook it, as tuna is best enjoyed with a slightly pink center. When the tuna is done, remove the steaks from the skillet and set them aside on a plate to rest for a moment. This will allow the juices to redistribute and keep the tuna moist. While the tuna is resting, let's prepare the sauce to complement the dish. In a small bowl, combine 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of rice vinegar, and 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. Add a pinch of brown sugar for a touch of sweetness, and 1/2 teaspoon of grated fresh ginger for a little zing. Whisk the ingredients together until the sugar is dissolved and the sauce is smooth. This simple sauce is light yet packed with flavor, perfectly balancing the richness of the tuna and the nuttiness of the sesame seeds. To serve, slice the tuna steaks into 1/2 inch thick slices, creating beautiful, tender pieces that show off the rare pink center. Arrange the tuna slices on a serving platter or individual plates, slightly overlapping them for an elegant presentation. Drizzle the soy ginger sauce over the tuna, ensuring each slice is coated with the flavorful liquid. For an added touch, sprinkle some additional sesame seeds on top and garnish with freshly chopped green onions or cilantro. Seared tuna with sesame crust is often served with simple sides like steamed rice, a light salad, or sautéed vegetables. It pairs wonderfully with a refreshing cucumber salad or avocado slices for a cool, creamy contrast to the crispy tuna. If you prefer, you can also serve it with a bowl of miso soup for a traditional touch. For variations, try using a different crust, such as crushed pistachios or macadamia nuts, for a unique flavor. You can also add a dash of chili flakes to the soy ginger sauce to give the dish a spicy kick. For an extra layer of flavor, consider briefly marinating the tuna in a mixture of soy sauce, ginger, and garlic before crusting and searing it. Leftovers can be stored in an airtight container in the refrigerator for up to 2 days. While the tuna may lose its crispiness when reheated, you can enjoy it cold as part of a salad or sandwich, or simply reheat it gently in a skillet with a splash of water to keep it moist. Seared tuna with sesame crust is a quick and elegant dish that makes an impression without requiring hours in the kitchen. The tender, perfectly seared tuna pairs beautifully with the crunchy, nutty sesame crust, and the soy ginger sauce ties everything together in a burst of flavor. Whether you're looking to treat yourself to a special dinner or impress guests with your cooking skills, this recipe is sure to deliver a delicious and memorable meal. Our next recipe is mushroom and chestnut Wellington, a rich and savory vegetarian twist on the classic beef Wellington. This dish combines earthy mushrooms, sweet chestnuts, and a flaky puff pastry, creating a hearty yet elegant main course that's perfect for special occasions or holiday meals. It's a satisfying alternative for vegetarians and a delicious way to showcase seasonal ingredients. Let's get started. Begin by preparing the filling. For the mushrooms, you'll need 1 pound of cremini or button mushrooms. Clean the mushrooms with a damp cloth to remove any dirt, then chop them finely. You'll also need a 1/2 cup of cooked chestnuts, peeled and chopped into small pieces. Chestnuts add a subtle sweetness and texture that perfectly complements the earthy mushrooms. In a large skillet, heat 2 tablespoons of olive oil over medium heat. Add the chopped mushrooms and sauté them for about 10 minutes, stirring occasionally. As the mushrooms cook, they'll release moisture. Continue cooking until most of the liquid has evaporated and the mushrooms start to brown. Once the mushrooms are cooked, add 1/2 cup of finely chopped onions and 2 cloves of garlic, minced. Sauté for an additional 3-4 minutes until the onions are soft and translucent. Now, add the chestnuts to the skillet along with 1/2 teaspoon of dried thyme, teaspoon of ground nutmeg, and salt and pepper to taste. Stir everything together and cook for another 2-3 minutes to combine the flavors. Remove the skillet from the heat and let the mixture cool slightly. While the filling is cooling, prepare the puff pastry. You'll need 1 sheet of thawed, ready-to-use puff pastry. Make sure it's on a lightly floured surface. Roll the pastry out slightly to ensure it's large enough to wrap around the filling. Place the pastry sheet on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. Next, prepare the creamed spinach layer that will go in the middle of the Wellington. In a separate skillet, heat 1 tablespoon of butter over medium heat. Add 1/2 cup of chopped shallots and sauté for about 2 minutes until soft. Add 4 cups of fresh spinach, a handful at a time, stirring until the spinach wilts down. Once the spinach has cooked down, add 1/2 cup of heavy cream and cook for 2 to 3 minutes until the cream has thickened. Season with salt, pepper, and a pinch of nutmeg. Remove from the heat and let it cool slightly. Now it's time to assemble the Wellington. Spread the creamed spinach in the center of the pastry, leaving about 1 to 2 inches around the edges. On top of the spinach, layer the mushroom and chestnut mixture. Use a spatula to spread it evenly across the spinach layer. Once the filling is arranged, carefully fold the sides of the puff pastry over the filling to encase it. Pinch the ends together to seal the Wellington, then flip it over so the seam is on the bottom. For an extra touch of golden color, brush the top of the pastry with 1 tablespoon of beaten egg wash. This will help the pastry achieve a beautiful, shiny finish while it bakes. Preheat the oven to 400 derajat 200 degrees and bake the Wellington for 25-30 minutes, or until the pastry is golden and puffed. Check for doneness by gently pressing the top of the Wellington. It should feel firm to the touch. If the pastry starts to brown too quickly, you can cover it loosely with aluminum foil and continue baking. Once the mushroom and chestnut Wellington is baked to perfection, remove it from the oven and let it rest for 10 minutes before slicing. This will allow the filling to set and prevent it from spilling out when you cut it. To serve, slice the Wellington into thick pieces, showcasing the layers of mushrooms, chestnuts, spinach, and flaky pastry. It pairs wonderfully with roasted vegetables, a simple green salad, or mashed potatoes. For a more festive touch, serve it with a rich gravy or a red wine reduction sauce to elevate the flavors even further. This mushroom and chestnut Wellington is not only delicious but also versatile. You can make it ahead of time by assembling the Wellington, wrapping it tightly, and refrigerating it for up to a day before baking. If you prefer, you can also freeze it before baking and bake it directly from the freezer, adding an extra 10-15 minutes to the cooking time. For variations, you can add a handful of grated cheese, like Gruyere or Parmesan, to the mushroom mixture for added richness. If chestnuts are out of season, you can replace them with other nuts, like walnuts or pecans, for a similar texture and flavor. Leftovers can be stored in an airtight container in the refrigerator for up to 3 days. To reheat, simply place the slices on a baking sheet and bake at 350 degrees 175 degrees for 10 to 15 minutes, or until warmed through. Our next recipe is salmon en papillon with dill cream sauce, a light and flavorful dish that's perfect for a weeknight dinner or a special occasion. This French technique involves baking salmon in parchment paper, which locks in moisture and enhances the natural flavors of the fish. Paired with a creamy, tangy dill sauce, this dish is both elegant and easy to prepare. Let's dive right in. Start by preparing the salmon. You'll need 4 salmon fillets, each about 6 ounces. Make sure the skin is removed, as the fish will be cooked in parchment paper. Season the fillets generously with salt and pepper on both sides. For extra flavor, you can sprinkle a little garlic powder or fresh minced garlic over the top. Next, prepare the parchment paper. You'll need 4 large sheets of parchment paper, each large enough to fold over the salmon fillets and create a sealed packet. Lay each fillet in the center of a sheet of parchment paper, leaving enough room on each side to fold and seal the paper. Now, it's time to add flavorings to the salmon. Place 2-3 thin slices of lemon on top of each fillet, along with a few sprigs of fresh dill. You can also add a few thin slices of shallots or onions for added sweetness. Drizzle each fillet with 1 teaspoon of olive oil, and if you like, a splash of white wine to enhance the flavor and help with the steaming process. Once everything is set, it's time to fold the parchment paper. Fold the paper over the salmon, creating a half-moon shape. Starting at one end, fold the edges of the paper tightly together, creating a sealed packet. Continue folding the edges all the way around the salmon to make sure it's completely enclosed. This step is essential to trap the steam inside, ensuring the salmon cooks evenly and remains moist. Preheat the oven to 400 degrees, 200 digs, and bake the salmon for 12 to 15 minutes, depending on the thickness of the fillets. The salmon is done when it flakes easily with a fork, but it should still be moist and slightly pink in the center. If you're not sure, you can check the internal temperature with a meat thermometer. It should reach 145 degrees, like 63 degrees. Be careful not to overcook the salmon, as it will dry out. While the salmon is baking, prepare the dill cream sauce. In a small bowl, combine 1/2 cup of sour cream and 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. Add 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard for a little tang, and 1 tablespoon of fresh lemon juice for brightness. Stir in 1 tablespoon of finely chopped fresh dill, which adds a refreshing herbal note to the sauce. For a touch of sweetness, you can add a small drizzle of honey or maple syrup, depending on your taste. Season with salt and pepper to taste, and mix until smooth. Once the salmon is done, remove the packets from the oven and carefully open them. Be cautious of the steam. You can either serve the salmon directly from the parchment or transfer the fillets to plates. Drizzle the dill cream sauce over the top, or serve it on the side for guests to add as they like. Salmon en papillon with dill cream sauce is delicious served with a variety of sides. Roasted vegetables like asparagus, carrots, or zucchini complement the rich, tender salmon. Steamed rice or mashed potatoes are also excellent options for soaking up the dill sauce. A simple green salad with a light vinaigrette adds freshness to balance the richness of the salmon. For variations, you can experiment with different herbs and seasonings. Fresh thyme, tarragon, or parsley can be swapped for dill, or you can add a pinch of red pepper flakes to the sauce for a little heat. If you prefer a slightly smoky flavor, try adding a few slices of smoked salmon to the packet, or incorporate a small amount of smoked paprika into the dill cream sauce. If you don't have parchment paper, you can use aluminum foil as an alternative, but be sure to seal the packets tightly to keep the steam inside. Leftovers can be stored in an airtight container in the refrigerator for up to 2 days. To reheat, place the salmon in a skillet over low heat, adding a splash of water or broth to help keep it moist. You can also enjoy the leftovers cold, flaked into a salad or on a sandwich. Salmon en papillon with dill cream sauce is a simple yet elegant dish that highlights the natural flavors of the fish while adding a creamy, tangy twist. The steaming process ensures that the salmon remains juicy and tender, while the dill cream sauce elevates the dish to a whole new level. Whether you're cooking for a special occasion or just want a quick, flavorful meal, this recipe is sure to impress. Give it a try and enjoy the light and refreshing flavors of this classic French dish.